She always had that spark in
Winnipeg's
her
Keith and
eye.
Renee found each other over 10 years ago when Keith happened upon Renee's voice. They've been performing together ever since. After working on a number of projects, traveling the world, and making valuable music connections, the dynamic duo get a call from their pal Jann Arden to join her on the road.
So long, so long.
Well, it's pretty incredible. We went out for dinner with Jann in Toronto a couple years ago, and after meeting her, we gave her a CD, and she started playing our music on her show Being Jann on CBC. And she tells us that she got a lot of good feedback from the song, so we've just kept in touch over the last few years with her. And so when this tour came up, she asked us if we would be interested in opening the Western Canadian dates. And we said no, but just kidding.
Yeah.
No, we were really excited. So we've been doing all the Western Canadian dates with Jann, and just meeting some incredible people, and just it's been like a dream for us to be out here playing and to all these amazing theaters and people, and yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, that's great. I mean, you're no strangers to the scene. You've been doing this for over 10 years now, I guess. And tell us how you met. Reading up on you guys, it just seemed like you stumbled upon this great voice here, and then the rest is history. But let you describe it.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. We met in '97, and I'm from a small town, Ile-des-Chênes, and I used to sing at my church every Saturday night, and Keith was singing at his church in Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. And it was my cousin who actually went up to Keith and said, you know, I think you should meet my cousin Renee. Your voices would blend really well together. And so he made the big trek out to Ile-des-Chênes, Manitoba, and came to listen to me sing. And I think it was the next day he called me up and he's like, hey, you want to songwrite together sometime? And I'm like, who is this? So that's really how it happened, and it just worked out.
With that strong foundation to the church and their community, Keith and Renee decided to take their show on the road to Africa, an experience they will never forget.
I think the best highlight of the whole thing was we were one day walking through this market, and there was people there that had absolutely nothing. Like, they were bartering for used clothing and food that was going bad, and yet the smiles on these people's faces was what really took me away. I mean, despite the poverty there, they could find joy. And so we were inspired. We took our guitars out and we started playing in the middle of this market. I started playing some Bryan Adams cover songs. Okay. And all of a sudden the crowd doubled in size when they heard the Robin Hood theme song. And they asked us who we were. I was like, well, I'm Bryan Adams and this is Mel C. And it was crazy.
Oh yeah, if Bryan was watching this, maybe he'd be flattered.
Do you still do the Bryan Adams covers on stage?
Oh man, well, you know what's really exciting about this tour is Jann Arden's guitar player is Keith Scott, who's been playing with Bryan for years. And just the other day, we were in sound check, and he was just hanging out, and so I went up to him and just started chatting, and he's like, do you want to try my guitar? He's got like a signature guitar. And so I played it, and man, did I ever feel like Bryan Adams. I was like, this is surreal to me.
You've worked with a number of great Canadian acts as well, which is always nice working in the Canadian music scene. Share some of the stories of some of the acts that you've worked with.
Well, we just opened for Blue Rodeo just a few months ago with the big Jets kickoff in Winnipeg, so that was great. And, you know, we're good friends with Doc Walker back in Winnipeg. Yeah, there's so many great artists. I'm trying to think of a story, but the best, I mean, when, you know, again, when we got the call about Jann Arden, she's really my hero, and, you know, one of the reasons why I started songwriting. And so that was a moment for me when I met her, and then to get to know her and realize she's such an amazing person, you know, off the stage as well.
Check out their 5th studio album online at keithandrenee.com. Brad Kelly, Shaw TV, Capital Region.